Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Wednesday, July 30th, and we're up to Hebrews chapter 10, verse 8. And the author of Hebrews has been doing this comparison between the fact that the Old Testament sacrifices had to be done over and over and over again, and the New Testament sacrifice of Jesus was once done, perfect, never needs to be done again because there's nothing wrong with it. It completely took care of everything. So verse 8 says, when he said above, you have neither desired nor taken pleasure in sacrifices and offerings, and burnt offerings and sin offering, these are offered according to the law. Then he added, behold, I have come to do your will. He does away with the first in order to establish the second. All right. So let's imagine that, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Let's imagine that you just had a nice breakfast. You had some scrambled eggs, you had some sausage, you had some toast. You are good and full. And then somebody comes in and says, oh, look, I just made you pancakes. It's kind of redundant to have both, right? You're only gonna need one breakfast. And if you take both, you're gonna overeat, your stomach's gonna hurt, it's not gonna digest well. It's better to have just one. Well, if we have to choose between the two, we've got the Old Testament sacrifices that have to be done every year. They do not remove the sin and the guilt. All it does is kind of cover it up. Or we can have the sacrifice that Jesus made on that cross that was once and done, completely removes sin. It is 100% perfect. There's no need for these offerings, these sacrifices anymore, because Jesus has come to the cross. That's what this is saying. The Cultural Study Bible had this to say. The writer notes that the psalm distinguishes between the sacrifices and God's will. The sacrifices were something that God gave them to pay the price for their sin, but God's will was to have that perfect sacrifice. And that the speaker in the psalm came to perform the latter. This is Jesus speaking in Psalm 40, verses 4 through 6. I believe it was 4 through 6. And he's basically saying, I came to give that perfect sacrifice. Verse 10. And by that, we will have been sacrificed through the sanctified, not sacrificed, I'm saying the same word too much. Let me back up. Chapter 10, verse 10 says, and by that will we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus once for all. We don't need the sacrifices of the Old Testament. We don't have to go to the temple every single year and atone for our sin because Jesus did it once and for all. Cultural Study Bible had this to say. Most Jewish people in the Mediterranean diaspora heard scripture in its Greek translation, which is what this writer therefore brings forward or expounds. Where the surviving Hebrew text reads, my ears you have been opened, most Greek versions read, a body you prepared for me to do God's will. Jewish interpreters generally choose whichever reading they needed to make their point. Some interpreters even changed readings slightly to make their point. Jesus thus offers here not burnt offerings, but his own body. The whole point, and we've been saying this day after day after day, I think we've probably been saying it since Friday, is Jesus's offering completely overwhelms the power of the offerings that were done in the Old Testament. Those offerings are now redundant. They are not needed because we are relying on the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross. Have a wonderful day. God bless and keep walking the walk.